Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, what we'll be doing is we will be implementing Celery in our Django project. So far, we have implemented the deployment of this project on EC2 using conventional Gunicon and managed.py run server. And in the next couple of videos, I also showed you guys how you can implement Docker into this Django application and then deploy this project successfully onto EC2 using Docker. Even though we are just beginning to understand the full complexity and the full, for the power of Docker, because I just went over the basics. I didn't go into details. In this part of the video, what I'll be doing is, or in the next couple of videos, I will be first showing you guys how you can implement Celery to run background tasks, and then we will be implementing Celery using Docker and then deploying that to the Django EC2 to the EC2 project in which we already deployed our Django project. So I mean, it's the same project which I was running initially. Everything is pretty much the same. We have a docker-compose. Everything is good to go. Now what we need to do is we need to implement Celery, and first things first, what we need to do is we need to install Celery. So I've already installed it, but the command is pretty straightforward. You just have to do pip3 install Celery. It has already installed in my case. Then the other thing is you guys need to install Redis, and Redis is going to be the message broker and the result backend both. I will get to these terms in a second, but you guys will need to have Redis in order to run Celery successfully. On macOS, the command to install Celery is brew. You can use brew to install. You can use brew to install Redis. There are multiple ways of installing Redis. Every operating system has its own way. On Linux, it's something else. I think it's sudo apt install Redis. I'm not sure, but we have the intent for that. I've already installed Redis as well. So if I do brew install Redis, it'll probably just update it if I'm not mistaken, because I already, so it's saying that Redis is already installed. So I need Redis, I need Celery, both of these have been installed. Now we move to the implementation, and the implementation is pretty straightforward. So what we need to do is we need to go into the directory, which is the main project directory, which contains the settings.py and the wsgi.py file. So basically the main project structure. In our case, it's immigration back. In your case, it might be something else. But I'm talking about the directory which contains the WSGI and the main URLs.py and the settings.py or the settings folder. So that is the directory which you need to go into. And inside of this directory, what I'll do is I'll create a new file by the name of Celery _app.py like this. And what I will be doing now is I will be pasting some code inside of this file, and I already have that code available. So because I don't want to show you guys and give you a wrong impression that I have this code remember from the top of my head, that is not what I'm trying to do here. I'm only trying to show you the concept, or to make you guys understand what is the concept behind these different technologies that we're implementing. I will copy this and I have pasted it over here. This is my main Celery file which will set up Celery in my Django project, and all it is doing is that it's first of all setting which settings.py will be used for settings. In our case, it will be not config, it will be immigration back. So basically I am giving it the path to my settings.py, and the settings.py is immigration back settings, and I'm using this one local.py. I have defined a Celery object, a bunch of settings over here as well. Nothing to nothing to worry about over here. This is the line which will discover all the tasks which are being used in the case of Celery. I'll get to this in a second. And this is just something that runs whenever Celery is, or Celery background worker is started. So we know that Celery is working. We can remove this as well, but it's completely fine if it's already there. So yeah. Now once Celery _app is defined, the other thing which I want to do is I want to go inside of the init.py over here, and I will be pasting this code over here. Just basic level Celery setting, nothing to be worried about. Is just something that we need. And if you go to the documentation of Celery and you guys decide to implement it yourself, it's just a step-by-step process. So yeah, nothing to change over here. Now once these two tasks have been defined, what I will do now is once these two steps have been completed, what I need to do now is I need to go into any of my applications. In our case, it's questionnaire. I don't think infrastructure is an application now, because this is just a folder which contains all the utilities. Authentication is definitely a folder because of the views, URLs, serializers. Inside of authentication, what I'll do is I'll create a tasks.py. Sorry, not ppy, it's py. Sorry about that. And task.py will contain all of the asynchronous background tasks which will be run using Celery basically. So I also have the code for that already present, and it's pretty straightforward. If I can just copy this, and yep, this is the task which you need to copy, and I will be explaining this in a minute. And let me just copy the needed files. Oops, not this one. Just copy this, and I don't need this because this is something from my old project. So what am I importing? I'm importing the settings which I need. Okay, I'm importing transaction. That is just so I can implement atomic transactions. Requests, even though I'm importing them, but I don't need it, so I'll remove it. Shared underscore task. So shared underscore task is a decorator which basically telling Celery that this task can be used in other places as well. That's why the name shared underscore task. Time import sleep, just so I can mimic this process, and I will show you guys in a minute why I need this. I don't need this. This is from another old project where I tried to implement a notification service, but yeah. So all I've done is I have defined a function by the name of long running task, and all it does is it takes a data argument which can be none over here, by the way. And all it's doing is it's first printing starting, and after 5 seconds, after a 5 second delay, what it does is it prints hello. Just to show you guys that Celery is working. So once that is done, and before we implement this and use this, we just need to do a few more things. The first thing we need to do is we need to, let me just adjust my screen. We have already checked whether we have Redis installed. So we have Redis installed. We have Celery installed as well. So now we need to set up Redis. Before we're doing that, we need to make sure that Redis is running. So let me just do Redis/CLI. Connection refused. Okay. Do I need to start it or not? So okay, I think first we need to do Redis-server. Okay, it's saying ready to accept collections. Allow. Okay. Why won't it allow me? Is there something already running? Let me confirm. Okay, let me just debug this in a minute. Okay, I don't know why that pop-up came. Some issue with my macOS, but it's gone now. I just clicked on allow constantly until it went away. So yeah, first thing what we need to do is we need to run Redis-server to start the Redis server basically. Like this. It's saying ready to accept connections. Now just to make sure that it's running, what we can do is Redis-CLI and just type in ping pong, which means it works. Redis is listening. So our Redis server is running the way we need it to. Before we start implementing Celery, we just need to do two more things. I will need to, and I think I have them over here. So there are a bunch of settings which I need to add. Copy and let me just go into my local.py. Let me just paste over there. So all I'm doing over here is I'm telling Celery which Redis host it needs to listen to, localhost, which is the port 6379, a broker URL, which basically is the Redis URL in short. Redis Celery result backend, defining the Celery result back, broker URL, Celery result backend, both of them are the same. And what result backend does is it stores the results of the Celery task after they're completed, and broker URL is just to run the tasks in the background. I am also not that theoretically clear on these terminologies, but to be honest, you will seldom be needed to make any sort of major change over here. These settings are already predefined, but for any one of you who's really interested in really diving deep into theory behind these variables, you guys can always look them up, or you can leave a comment on the video, and I can make another video where I can go in depth and explain all of these variables the way they are. These ones are pretty straightforward. What kind of content is accepted? Application JSON. What kind of serializer? JSON in our case, and we've already defined the time zone. Pretty straightforward. UTC. So once these have been defined, the last thing is that what we need to do is we need to start Celery. And so Redis server has been started. The command is this: Celery a config worker. It will not be config. It will be immigration back. So we need to define the directory, the main project directory. If I do this, so my Celery worker has started. It's basically running. My Celery worker is running. I have Redis running as well. All I need to do now is, if I go into my views.py over here, and this is just a basic random view. Let me just import from the task which I created from .tasks, import long running task like this. And if I do, not over here, long running tasks dot delay. So delay is how you can initialize it, or how you can use this function. Long running task over here. So over here data is not being passed. It's none. If I decide to run this endpoint, there will not be a delay. Normally, if I had run this inside of the function, there would have been a 5-second delay. The API would have kept on loading until this time sleep would have completed. But now that we're using Celery in this case, the API will immediately return me a response, whereas this task will run in the background. So let's test this out. I have already set up Postman over here. And if everything goes well, I should see hello after 5 seconds. And let me just do, by the way, this is not my actual password. So it's not a security risk. Oops, oh yeah, sorry, forgot to run the server as well. Need to run the server. Python 3 manage.py, run server. Oops, cd backend, cd, oh there it is, Python 3 manage.py, run server. Server is running, looks okay. Let me just change this to 1 to 5. So I immediately got a response. Where is my Celery? And yeah, as you can see, I just after 5 seconds got hello. Let me try that one more time. Let me just make this 1 to 6. Starting, and hello any minute now. There you go. This was run in the background, and the API did not wait for it. The API returned me a token and an email, which is the actual response of the API. It did not wait for the Celery Celery task to finish. It immediately gave me the response, whereas this task was running in the background. Basic level implementation of Celery, nothing new, nothing fancy. Obviously there's a lot that you guys can do. We can increase the number of workers as well. Right now we only have one worker. We can increase the number of workers as well. We can Dockerize our Celery process as well. That is something we can do too. And other than that, there's a thing called Celery beat. So if you want to run tasks after a certain amount of time, like let's say after 1 hour, 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, asynchronously, we can do that as well. Let's say if you want to send someone a reminder email, or if you want to purge data after a certain amount of time, you can do that. We have AWS Lambda and cron jobs for that. That is one thing we can do, or we can use Celery in this regard. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Short level basic introduction to Celery. I did not go into the theory. I just went straight to the point and showed you how you guys can implement it ASAP. If you guys are looking for the code, I'm going to push this code and leave the link of this repository in the video description. If you like it, feel free to share it. For that helps me a lot. Till we meet again in the next video. This is Mojit Lodi signing off.